You give everything. Your time, your energy, your heart. You show up for people when they need you most. You listen when no one else will. You care deeply, genuinely, without expecting anything in return. And yet, somehow, you're the one they overlook, the one they take for granted, the one who gets the least respect. If this resonates with you, I need you to stay with me, because what you're about to discover isn't just about why this happens, it's about what's really going on beneath the surface, in your psychology, in theirs, and in the invisible dynamic that's been silently shaping every relationship you've ever had. This isn't your fault, but understanding this will change everything. Let's start here. When you care for everyone, you're unconsciously writing a contract you never signed, but one you've been living by your entire life. It goes something like this: if I give enough, if I'm kind enough, if I prove my worth through my actions, people will see me, they'll value me, they'll give me the respect I deserve. But here's the painful truth. That contract, the other person never agreed to it. They never even saw it. You're operating from a belief system that says love, care, and respect are earned through self-sacrifice. And psychologically, this makes perfect sense. Maybe you grew up in an environment where love was conditional, where you had to be helpful, agreeable, or useful to be seen. So you learned early, caring for others is how you matter. But here's what happens. When you give without boundaries, without reciprocity, without ever asserting your own needs, you don't become more valuable in their eyes. You become expected, predictable, part of the background. Think about it. There's someone in your life right now, someone you've shown up for countless times, and the moment you couldn't be there, or the moment you asked for something in return, they were upset. Not grateful, upset. That's not respect. That's entitlement. And the reason they feel entitled is because you've never taught them that your care has value. You've never set a boundary that says, I matter too. But why? Why do we do this? That's where things get even deeper. Here's what most people don't understand about givers like you. Your caring isn't just kindness, it's a survival strategy. Psychologists call it hyperempathy, the ability to feel other people's emotions so intensely that you instinctively try to fix them. And while this makes you deeply compassionate, it also makes you vulnerable. Because when you feel someone else's pain, you're not just helping them, you're soothing your own discomfort. Let me explain. Imagine a friend calls you, upset and overwhelmed. Immediately you feel it. Their anxiety becomes yours. Their sadness sits heavy in your chest. So you help them, not just because you care, but because helping them helps you regulate that emotional intensity. This is the empathy trap. You're not just giving because you're generous. You're giving because not giving feels unbearable. And people sense this, not consciously, but instinctively. They sense that you need to help, that you need to be needed. And when someone senses that your care comes from a place of internal urgency rather than calm choice, respect doesn't follow, dependency does. Think about someone you deeply respect, not someone you like, someone you respect. Chances are they have boundaries. They help, yes, but they don't rush to fix you. They don't absorb your emotions. They hold space without losing themselves in it. That groundedness is what commands respect, and it's exactly what you've been taught to abandon. But here's the part that might sting a little, and I say this with compassion because I've been there too. Sometimes the people who respect you the least are the ones you've trained the most. This is going to sound backwards, but stay with me. The more you try to earn respect through care, the less respect you actually receive. Why? Because respect isn't given to those who prove their worth, it's given to those who already believe in it. Let me paint a picture. Two people offer help to the same person. The first person drops everything, rearranges their schedule, and offers endless reassurance. The second person says, I can help you with this on Thursday at 3 p.m. Does that work? Who do you think gets more respect? It's counterintuitive, but it's the second person because they just communicated something powerful. My time has value. I care about you, but I also care about myself. I'm not here to save you. I'm here to support you, within my capacity. That's boundaries, and boundaries are the language of self-respect. When you have no boundaries, you're sending an unconscious message: my needs don't matter. Use me. And people will. Not because they're bad people, but because you've made it clear that taking from you has no cost. I want you to think about the last time someone disrespected you. Maybe they canceled plans last minute. Maybe they vented for hours but never asked how you were. Maybe they only reached out when they needed something. Now ask yourself, did you say anything? Did you express that it hurt? Or did you smile, say, it's okay, and keep giving? Every time you do that, you reinforce the dynamic. You teach them that your feelings are optional, that your presence is guaranteed, that you'll always be there no matter how little they give back. And the tragic irony, you do this because you're afraid that if you set a boundary, they'll leave, afraid that your worth is tied to how much you give. But here's what you need to hear. Anyone who only values you for what you give was never truly valuing you at all. Now we're getting to the core, the deepest layer, and this is where real healing begins. If you're someone who cares for everyone but gets no respect, there's a strong chance you're living from what psychologists call a wounded identity, an identity that says, I am what I do for others. This usually starts in childhood. Maybe you had a parent who was emotionally unavailable, and the only time you felt seen was when you were helpful. Maybe you had a sibling who got all the attention, and you learned that being the good one was your only way to matter. Whatever the origin, the message was the same. Your value is conditional. You are not enough just as you are. So you built your identity around caregiving. You became the dependable one, the helper, the rock. And it worked for a while. People liked you. They needed you, and that felt like love. But it wasn't love. It was function. And deep down, you know this, because if it were real love, real respect, you wouldn't feel so empty. You wouldn't lie awake at night wondering why no one shows up for you the way you show up for them. You wouldn't feel that quiet ache of being invisible while being indispensable. Here's the hardest truth. You can't receive respect for who you are if you've never shown people who you are. All they've seen is what you do, your service, your sacrifice. But your thoughts, your boundaries, your needs, you've kept those hidden because somewhere along the way you learned that the real you wasn't enough. But let me tell you something. The version of you that gives endlessly, that never complains, that always says yes, that's not the real you. That's the armor. The real you is underneath, the one with preferences, limits, desires, frustrations, the one who wants to be seen, not just used. And that person is worthy of respect, not because of what they give, but because they exist. So how do you change this? How do you start receiving the respect you deserve without becoming cold or selfish? It starts with one realization. Respect is not something you earn from others. It's something you give to yourself first. Every time you honor your own needs, you're teaching people how to treat you. Every time you say no without guilt, you're drawing a line that says, I matter too. Every time you stop over-explaining, over-apologizing, over-giving, you reclaim your power. And yes, some people will be uncomfortable with this. The ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries will resist. They'll call you selfish. They'll guilt-trip you. They'll say you've changed. And you know what? You have changed. You've stopped abandoning yourself to keep them comfortable. And that's not selfish. That's self-respect. But here's the beautiful part. When you start respecting yourself, something shifts. The people who only valued you for your service will fade away, and the people who see your actual worth, they'll step forward. Not because you're giving more, but because you're finally letting them see the real you. Let me give you a real example. I knew someone, let's call her Maya. Maya was everyone's therapist. Every friend, coworker, even acquaintances would unload their problems on her, and she'd listen for hours. But when Maya was going through her own crisis, silence. No one checked in. One day, she decided to try something. A friend called in crisis mode, and instead of dropping everything, Maya said,
I can talk for 20 minutes right now, but I have something I need to take care of after. Can we set up a longer call tomorrow? The friend paused, then said, "Oh, yeah, of course. Is everything okay with you?" It was the first time in years anyone had asked. That's the shift. When you stop being endlessly available, people start seeing you as a person, not a resource. If you've made it this far, I want you to know something. You're not broken. You're not too sensitive. You're not asking for too much. You've just been operating from a belief system that told you love and respect were things you had to earn, that you had to give endlessly to be worthy of receiving. But that was never true. You were always worthy. You were always enough. You just needed permission to believe it, and I'm giving you that permission now. You don't have to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You don't have to sacrifice your needs to prove your worth. You don't have to keep giving to people who take you